All right. We're back. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, building image experts, every Saturday on iHeartRadio, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Thanks again for holding out throughout the break, giving you some good information on this show right here on Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. Right before this break, we're talking about insurance companies, specifically farmers, pulling out of the state of Florida is what a lot of the media was saying. They aren't necessarily pulling out. I believe Hans Kennan here, Morgan, is on his personal house. He has farmers now, and he got renewed in March before they announced in June they were no longer renewing. So he still has his policy. So they're not canceling, they're not pulling out, they're just non-renewing because of the possible exposure here prior to hurricane season starting. So the official start of hurricane season is June 1st. They announced it right before hurricane season, and it could be the rising cost of reinsurance, which they have to have in before June of every year because that starts hurricane season. So you don't know what's going on in the background. And again, the whole problem of the quote-unquote fake crisis issue that they were pushing everybody to say the reason why insurance premiums are going through the roof because of unscrupulous contractors, attorneys, the claim volume, the lawsuits, all this stuff. BS 100%. We know that, and I think Hans brought up an article on USA Times, I believe, about the major factors of insurance premiums rising. You know, we heard of climate change. We've heard of the rising costs of just repairing or replacing costs, and the rising cost of reinsurance. We knew that. We know it's reinsurance. That was the major portion of every premium. On average, 50 cents on every dollar that comes through the door on premium goes back out the door to reinsurance. You can't work with 50% margins like that when half of it goes out the door to reinsurance. It's reinsurance is the problem. The state of Florida had a way to fix it. You know, they instead of taking that $2 billion for that all these different programs that they were doing for reinsurance, it's take that couple billion of dollars that they're pushing towards those programs, give it to citizens to start competing on the reinsurance market. We're very self-sufficient in the state of Florida, and we've made a point to tell everybody that too. I mean, all year we're going around saying, look how we're doing in Florida. We're super rich in the state of Florida. As a matter of fact, we're so rich in the state of Florida that we're sending our governor everywhere, and we don't give a crap because we're just so rich here in Florida that he's going to Iowa. He's doing four-way accidents in freaking
we don't
Tennessee.
even care if he brings the car back.
Right. We just leave it there and burn it. Who cares? We got so much money. Like, well, I don't understand why we're not taking care of our own. We've got, like, citizens owned by the state of Florida has surplus in the billions, not millions. We're talking billions in surplus. And then we have billions others that we're surplusing in the state of Florida that if we were to have a catastrophic event, we would be able to handle it. We would take care of it ourselves. And so I'm still just beside myself over all this BS over it. But sorry, that took a while to get to the point of with the nostalgia behind it, or the notion that if I file a claim, I'll make these other insurance companies go out of business and all this other stuff. It's not correct. It's not the right media push that should be out right now. But Hans, to your point, you were looking at the subsidiaries under major insurance companies, Farmers being one of them, who is owned by Zurich.
As is MetLife.
Oh wow!
Exactly. Every time I look at it, I'm like, wow. You have Farmers and Zurich, even though Farmers is under Zurich, together purchased MetLife in 2021. So Zurich is really trying to hit all the angles. Like I was mentioned before the break, my home is insured by the Truckers Exchange, which is a farmers company, which I remember some of my staff needed coverage for their homes. And I said to call, my friend Ty Rothschild, who's a farmer's agent, who is, I like to point out, not a farmer's agent anymore.
He's a trucker.
They all got bought out. Like the farmers sent out this whole release, shutting down the offices, trying to do a buyout. It's been a bit of a mess for him and a lot of folks. But I said, call my guy Ty, and they came back to me, some of my staff, and they said, it's the insurance company's called Truckers Exchange, and I'm like, I'm sure it's fine. And so then I ended up needing coverage, and I ended up getting it myself. So, yeah, they definitely try to hit all different markets because for a guy who buys his insurance under Truckers Exchange, the idea that he would buy coverage under Zurich, is just one of those where you just go, Zurich? What's Zurich? Where I go, Truckers Exchange. That seems like an odd name for a company to insure my home. But yes.
Yeah. Never know when you're going to slip on a banana or get hit by a bus. Yeah.
Whether you slipped on a banana or
get hit by a truck. Oh, anyway. I was doing some research on insurance companies here in the state of Florida with the available. Some people are like, oh man, it's so hard for me to get different quotes for insurance, and if you're going to the same agent and that agency only sells for either like your buddy farmers over there, he only sold for farmers or apparently truckers, but that's all they sold for. You go to another one, I think what Brightway or something like that, right. Is like an agency that would sell for multiple ones, but they only may sell for 5, 10, 15 if they have a lot of providers, if they're allowed to sell to different insurance companies as an agency. And I tell them sometimes you have to shop agencies as well that have more insurance companies under their advisory, under their agency that they are allowed to sell to. But I went to the Office of Insurance Regulation website, the OIR Florida here, and just pulled up some top insurance companies here in the Central Florida area on a basic $300,000 policy post new construction, and they have rates and list of insurance company names. Stillwater Property and Casualty Insurance Company comes up as the best rate, believe it or not. And then you have Citizens Insurance, not good, owned by the state of Florida. You don't want them. Next on the list, Tower Hill Prime Insurance Company. Then there's Tower Hill Preferred. Then there's Tower Hill Select. Right, and then there's I think there's another couple lines down is Tower Hill Signature. That's crazy. Yeah. Anyways, but then they talk about First Protective, Universal Insurance, Castle Key, Universal Insurance of North America, Snake Farm, Liberty Mutual Fire Company, Fire Insurance Company, Florida Peninsula, Southern Oak, ASI Preferred, Florida Family. Let's see what else we have after Florida Family. First Community Insurance, Florida Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance, Security First, FedNat, People's Trust, and the last one on the list is AAA Insurance, who is triple the amount of every other insurance company, and the last on the list that you'd want to hire here in the Central Florida area. But I heard AAA was also not writing new policies in Florida. Have you heard that?
I've not. Well, no, I did actually. I heard that the other day. Farmers kind of stole all took all the oxygen out of the room with their announcement. I know AAA did mention that, but I don't know to what extent or how big they are.
Yeah, I think everybody was hopping on the farmers bus for a while, and they were getting a lot of new policies in. So for them to make that decision in June, I think it was absolutely had to do with the increasing rates of reinsurance in the state of Florida.
Because I think by July 1 or August 1, the insurers have to provide to the Department of Insurance their reinsurance contract or letter agreement that allows them to operate.
Yeah, and I think that's when they made their decision to not write or not renew policies. Again, they didn't pull out of Florida, but it is another insurer that decided that gained a lot of policies, and then because of Florida's crazy rules, they're just like bowing down to the insurance companies. They're allowing them to not only put a time frame like they did with FedNat, put a time frame and say, hey, okay, after any claims that were made before this date are all going to go to FIGA, and then any claim after that date, we're going to sell it to Slide. So they were just making money hand over fist because they were handing over all of their liabilities to FIGA, which is a Florida Insurance Guarantee Association, which is paid for by us. Yep. All of the other Floridians here that have insurance, we all pay. On the bottom of that is the ever-increasing FIGA contribution they would have to pay. And when an insurance company then dumps all the claims over to FIGA, we then all pay it. And then FedNat was allowed to then to give all the rest of the policies to Monarch. UPC to Slide, and give the crap over to FIGA. So That's unfortunate. All right, so we're going to take a break here with Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. We'll be right back.